I find that it's very difficult to try to get into the industry through screenwriting.
And yes, I did shoot clutch with that 50 millimeter lens. I was trying to, well, my budget wasn't that much. I was trying to avoid having to rent out lights.
All it takes is one person calling out and then having to reschedule or try to find a replacement, which is going to back things up.
You're listening to the Fanboy Film Talk podcast.
Hey folks, welcome to another set of the Fanboy Film Talk podcast. This is Brian Green hosting this thing, and I appreciate taking the time out to join me as I go through and talk about this thing called indie filmmaking with a couple of different people. This will be a show with a guest. It won't just be me talking this time. I only did that for the intro, just to get things going. The last go round, but as I sit here in the beautiful All the Way Live studios, I am preparing for the interview with a independent filmmaker. He's local to Atlanta. You'll probably hear me say this all over again, but he's local to Atlanta, and he's done some what I consider some really cool stuff. And I wanted to just kind of chat with him a little bit to give some of you people out there who are on the fence about what to do, how to do it. Give you a little bit of insight of what you're going to be going into, how to do it, how to try it, what you may be up against. Just little things like that. Last podcast, I mentioned a book, and I couldn't remember the name of it at that time. It wasn't in front of me, but I'm going to make sure I say it now. The title of the book that I was talking about is Art and Fear: Observations on Perils and Rewards of Art Making. Again, the title is Art and Fear: Observations on Perils and Rewards of Art Making. And that book is by David Blayz and Ted Orland. And that will give you just a little bit of insight on the fear that you may have sitting in your body as a filmmaker or just an artist in general. I can't do this. It's too much stuff. People are going to laugh. All of the things that run through everybody's head when they think about doing something that is a little risky, and film is a very risky endeavor. You are making a piece of work which by design is supposed to be viewed by as many eyeballs as possible, and when it is viewed by as many eyeballs as possible, which it means that it is certainly open to criticism. Nobody likes to be criticized. Nobody likes to have a lot of people judging their work and talking about what they did and what they shouldn't have done. You should have did this wrong. Did you try? You didn't. The script must have been terrible. All of the stuff that we've all said about any number of movies and music and plays and so on and so forth. I'm no exception to that rule. I know I've said it on a number of occasions about a number of movies, but I can tell you truthfully, and I probably will repeat this many times, is that you'll learn a respect for the craft once you've attempted the craft of trying to create a movie. Once you've actually sat there and either written it or directed or tried to light the scene or even act in it. Just the different levels of production or the different stages of production that we have going on. Once you've tried to do that, you will have a whole new respect for the business at hand, of what you're doing. So even when you watch somebody that made a movie that was a piece of crap, you'll at least give them credit where credit is due, in that they tried. They gave something You know, they tried, they took some effort, they probably spent their own money or, you know, somebody else's money, and they tried. You know, they got some equipment, and got some people, put this thing together, boom, you know, and tried to make something happen. So, you know, don't be afraid of the failure is as probably the best thing I could say. You know, and it's hard, you know, it's hard to get past that. It's hard to, you know, overcome the fear of the failure on occasions, but we all got to do it. You know, if you're listening to this, then you're either a filmmaker or you're thinking about being a filmmaker. So I can say with general comfort that we all got to do it. So try to go with that. And, you know, again, go check out that book. That is a suggestion from Robert Rodriguez, not from me. You know, and being that he's been in the business since the 90s, I would say that that's somebody that you should probably listen to. If you don't know who I'm talking about with Robert Rodriguez, hey, you know, the guy, El Mariachi, Desperado, Dust Till Dawn, you know, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Spy Kids, all that good stuff, that's him. Machete, that's his stuff. So I would think that that is a gentleman that knows what he's doing. And he's made several suggestions. I don't want to work out of sequence here, but if you're going into the filmmaking game in this day and age, you probably want to look into some technical aspects of it. You may want to think about trying to learn as much behind the camera as you possibly can. I know there are a lot of people that would just prefer just, you know, I got a script and I would, you know, I want to just give it to somebody and have them make it for me, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to expedite the process of getting your movie up and running and to a tangible product, you probably would want to learn as much as you can possibly learn behind the camera. I'm talking about the lighting, talking about the editing, talking about direction, you know, blocking the scenes, set design, I mean, whatever it is that you can get. And I'm not asking you to be a master at it, you know, until you find something that you're really good at, then, you know, you can master that. But nobody's asking you to be a master at any of this stuff. Just, you know, for a little bit of time at least, you're going to have to be a jack of all trades, master of none. So just go with that. In any case, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the opening of this. When I come back, joining me in this podcast will be one Johnny Blayz. And he's going to talk about his experience, his time on the set, how he's able to get his things done, his opinions on what it takes for you to jump into the filmmaking environment as it stands right now. And, you know, I think he even, you know, brought up a little something about whether, you know, film school or self-taught, you know, which one works for you. My personal opinion is you go with which one works for your learning curve, but we're going to make sure that Mr. Blayz tells us what how he feels about it. So stick around and sit back, take in this interview, and we'll catch you after the break.
My first console I remember playing was the Atari 2600. I remember saying, like, wow, look at the graphics.
I never thought it would amount to anything. He informs us they want to pay us $30 million. It was like, what?
Video games vastly differ from every other kind of media.
A good video game is probably the hardest thing to make.
The whole point of a game was literally shooting pixelated aliens that were falling out of the sky. Nowadays, not only do we know why those aliens are falling out of the sky, we know the names of their moms. And we know we have to destroy all of them.
They've evolved into truly global experiences. It's a borderline religious experience.
And just something about blowing your friend in half, nothing is more satisfying. I have lifelong friends that I've met just playing together online.
It's the ultimate example of art and science working together.
It's making a movie times 1,000.
Back in the early days, we really did look forward to a day where video games would be interactive movies.
Video games in the next 30 to 40 years are going to be unimaginable, where you can live the dream that you've always wanted to live.
That was a trailer from Video Games the Movie. From the executive producer Zach Braff comes the epic feature-length documentary chronicling the meteoric rise of video games from nerd niche to a multi-billion-dollar industry, featuring in-depth interviews with the godfathers who started it all, the icons of game design, and the geek gurus who are leading us into the future. Video Games the Movie is a celebration of gaming from Atari to Xbox and an eye-opening look at what lies ahead. It is available to own when it hits theaters in the United States and Canada. For more information, go to videogamesthemovie.com. So my guest on this podcast is a filmmaker local to Atlanta. He's the proprietor of Blayz Productions, which you can find on Facebook and at blayzproductions.com. That's BLAYZ Productions.com. Created a very nice and engaging short film, which you can find on YouTube, called Clutch. I watched it myself, pretty good. And it was shot entirely on a 55mm prime lens using natural and only available light. And if you cinematographers out there, I'm sure you should be impressed with that. The man is Johnny Blayz, and he's going to sit here with me for a little bit and talk about some of the things that as a filmmaker you have to go through to try to get your stuff done, some hurdles that he may have overcome, and some things that you may need to avoid if you're trying to get into this filmmaking game. How you doing, Mr. Blayz?
I'm doing good, just one little thing. You said the 55, it's actually the 50mm lens.
Oh, sorry.
Just so if anyone was listening, they just know exactly which lens it is. And yes, I did shoot Clutch with that 50mm lens because I was trying to, my budget wasn't that much, and I was trying to avoid having to rent out lights. And that is pretty much one of the best lenses out there you could ever use to shoot in low light, So, but just a little bit about me. I am a self-taught filmmaker. I learned how to do everything myself through YouTube and seminars and going around and asking people. And I tell everybody, I'm not going to say film school isn't necessary, but there are a lot of things that you can do without film school because you don't have those boundaries where you're not confined to, you have to have $100,000 to make a film or all the other stuff. So I just think that when you don't really go by the rules with film school all the time, because you can still apply that, you can have more freedom to actually pursue things that might not seem to work, but could sometimes work, because now with film and stuff, everything is art and everything's creativity. So, just want to throw that out there.
Okay, well, thank you for you. And I actually had that note sitting here 50. I don't know why I read 55. But yeah. 50mm prime lens. But you said something in there. I'm glad you brought up is that you're self-taught. You did a really good job for a self-taught filmmaker, man. I really suggest anybody that's listening to this podcast go find your short on YouTube and check that thing out. I mean, it was less than 5 minutes, wasn't it?
It's actually, yeah. I have two versions. One is actually 15, and one's actually 3 minutes. But it was. We shot that on an $800 budget, and we just ran out of equipment. We shot it in 2 days. I used another week to edit, and that was it, But I tell people out there the best way you can get any movie done is from the basics, and that's writing the script. If you don't want to write a script or cannot write a script or don't have friends that are dedicated to writing scripts for you, you might as well forget about it. Because if you sit there with all the talent as a cinematographer or an editor, and you're going to be waiting for a good script to come along that you can shoot, it's not that high up there. So the best thing to do is if you have a story, a simple story that you can write, that you can shoot, you have the locations, the people, you can rent a few cars or get some friends to help you out as your crew. I'd say go ahead and keep doing that and maybe generate a following. And then, as time goes on, you get to network and meet other people and get stuff done. But, yeah, I always like to let people know that the best way to get it done is to always be able to have a script that you actually wrote yourself. And that's why I did the Clutch. I wrote a movie that I knew I could shoot. You know, I don't have any spaceships in there or any crazy special effects, but I wrote a simple story that I could shoot. So sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, but you use that experience too. So I just thought I'd add that.
Now, how many movies do you have credited to yourself right now? Or I should say, where in your lineup does Clutch fall? That's not the first thing out of the gate, is it?
No, Clutch is actually my third film, but it's my first short film. My first two films were feature films. The first one was The Last October 7th. You can find on YouTube and on Amazon. That was in 2010. And then I did Mama's Boy, which is an action thriller. I did that in 2012. And then I was like, you know, I couldn't actually afford much to do another feature film because unless you have a big name celebrity in your film, you might not even get that much recognition at film festivals or get distribution deals. So it's about doing things real simple and small where you can still keep being creative. So I decided to do a short film now and, you know, not spend too much to lose too much, and that's why I did Clutch. Currently now I'm working on my next film, which will be a feature-length film, but that's why I'm trying to actually raise a good budget that would make a film look like, okay, that's what it takes to make a film. He has a big budget. Because the first film I did was, $2,000 budget. The second film was a $6,000 budget, and Clutch was less than $1,000. So I'm not really talking the right numbers to be talking to the right people. So that's why I'm working my way up now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's always one of the things that when I do have those conversations with the aspiring filmmaker out there, money is always the thing that's tossed out in the way. And you may have had this conversation with somebody too. One of the big hurdles or the walls that they put in front of themselves is like, I got a script, but I can't shoot this thing unless I have X amount of dollars. And that's in my mind, it's always been like you're shooting yourself in the foot once you tell yourself I can't do this without this amount of money, or at least try to find some way around that. Now, is that something that you come across, or did you just, when you decided to make that not the short film, but the feature film, did you just decide, okay, I'm going to get as much as I can and I'm just going to make what I have work?
Yes, and that's exactly what I did, Brian. I had to let you know, like, there are so many things out there right now that you can use to create a good film. I know people that have shot movies on iPhone. I know people that have rented expensive cameras, but the camera might be worth maybe $50,000, but he gets it for $400 for a whole weekend. You know, so there are ways you can even go about doing things where you can't let money be the excuse. The only thing you could say was I couldn't afford maybe Idris Elba or Mekhi Phifer or Charlize Theron. You know, I couldn't get them to be mine. But that's okay. You can actually start off and create your own stars. And it's about just being consistent. If people can actually see what stories you've done and how you tell these stories, then they'll probably just go ahead and, you know, maybe start investing in you. Because that's how I almost had an investor for my next film because it was a good story. He'd seen Clutch. He knew I was on IMDb and I'd done some stuff and everything. But I was trying to bring in so many names where I think maybe my budget kind of went a little bit past where it was and I lost him. Or maybe he wasn't really even willing to do it from the beginning. But the point about it is that even though I've lost him, I know I can go about ways of raising just enough to shoot the movie. My budget for this next film I'm going for is $30,000. I know for sure if I have $10,000, I can make this movie. But I might not really just say, like, I actually like to shoot for more. Because if I shoot for more, that's more shooting days. That's more food for my crew and my cast. That's, you know, more props, so I can actually go anywhere I can now because I know how it is. I shoot my own things. I edit them. I do my own color corrections, and so a lot of things that would cost money, I've learned myself. So I've eliminated me paying $2,000-$3,000 for someone to edit my film for me. I am going to invest in a lighting guy, and that's why my budget is so high. I would normally do my own lights. But there are people out there who are skilled lighting guys, so I would want to have someone like that on my set to make the film look the right way it's supposed to look. 'Cause I can't do it all. I'm only doing it all because I can't afford to pay, but just because I'm hungry and passionate, my stuff comes out looking pretty good. So that's what it is. But still know if I had the right people with me, it could be even better. And for that, I would need a bigger budget. And that's what's going to lead me to go into crowdsource funding, and trying to do campaigns and raise money for it and shoot whatever I got, So that's where it's at for me.
How you said you got a lot of things that you do that kind of eliminate the necessity to hire out. How important in today's filmmaking environment would you say it is for you to be technical?
Oh, you have to be. I know a lot of people that write scripts and they have good stories, and that's where it stays at. It stays the scripts, they pile them up, write good scripts, and they don't get them shot because they don't want to learn how to use Premiere Pro or Final Cut. But I'm telling you, Brian, if you go on YouTube right now, there's 7-year-olds in Japan that will give you a Premiere Pro tutorial. And, I mean, this 7-year-old is telling me how to get stuff done, and I'm learning these things. And I'm like, yo, I really don't have to pay tuition and go to AIU to learn this when I have a Japanese kid who's pretty much like a genius with this stuff teaching me stuff. So we're in the information age right now. If you want to learn it, it's out there. They've got Lynda, I think lynda.com. They've got a whole bunch of people out there that give out free tutorials, you know. Yeah. You can go to Showcase on Cheshire Bridge. They have some classes over there where it's like, what, $35 for a week or something. They're not even expensive, you know, where you get to learn specific things that you would want to learn. But I would say it's the best thing to do where you can actually come to the table and say, you know what, I didn't just bring a script. I have a script, and I'm going to offer my service to edit. All I need is a DP who trusts the script, and I need a lighting guy that lets shoot a movie. So that way now, I'm bringing in my work. If it's going to be for free, you know, that way we know that, okay, well, we're not paying an editor because we have him for free. There are ways you can work with people and come together and then create pieces. You know, it might have to be a short film just so people don't work that hard. But it still can be done, and if you keep on being consistent with it, that's how people actually know that you're really about what you do and you're not just trying it out. You really are passionate about filmmaking. And nowadays, I'm telling you, man, there are so many things you can actually really just learn and just make you a unique filmmaker if you want to learn it. Yeah. Online. Yeah.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, YouTube covers so much ground now. I mean, for the things that I have learned that I didn't know, After Effects is I can't remember the site right now. It'll probably hit me as I'm talking. But there's a great After Effects set of tutorials that's out. Now, granted, of course, they're trying to get you to buy the product, but they still give you the tutorials for free. So.
Oh yeah. And I mean, After Effects to me used to be like rocket science at one time. I'm like, I don't think I'll ever be able to figure out After Effects because it looks so complicated compared to Premiere. But after a while, I just started going through a few tutorials and just breaking it down to you. And I'm like, this is really simple and easy to use. Like, if you ask me between Adobe and Final Cut, I would always take Premiere Pro. I could do a lot more with Adobe products than Final Cut. But that's still me going through both tutorials and knowing which one I can actually work better with. So in 1999, 2000, I don't think there were these kind of like advantages, you know what I'm saying? So now it's just beautiful that it's all out there. So it's about you going out there and grabbing it, taking what you need, putting it together, and creating stuff, you know. And if it's worthy of it, then you can do film festivals and do those. But I haven't done a film festival yet because I've not really had all those ingredients that I know they can. I don't want to be denied and pay $50 to do a film festival if I don't have some kind of B-list or A-list celebrity in my film, because I know it's all about politics too. But, you know, you can still create a masterful piece of good storytelling with regular people and still make it work. And on almost nothing. Yeah, if you wanted to. So, yeah, there are a lot of ways to actually get around it these days. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say on this show that I think that Clutch should be in a film festival just because I went to a film festival and my short film isn't nearly what Clutch is. Okay, so, you know.
No. But still, I mean, I commend you there. Because, I mean, if you're getting it done now and you're not really just sitting and waiting and everything, I respect everyone who's getting anything done, man, because it's a lot of work, and you have to have a great vision to see it. And so to bring a lot of people together and get your cast and your stories and your characters and your sounds, and that's one thing I'd like to share on this show. That is probably your biggest weapon on anything you ever shoot, your sound. Yeah. If your quality is great and remarkable, and you shot with a red or a black magic, and your sound is horrible, you've lost your point. Clutch, at some point, I had some errors with my sound. And that's why I just don't want to get too technical and say I should have been more perfect with my audio. But that's where it is. If you have perfect audio, ADR, good microphones, shotgun mics, whatever it is, wireless mics, however it is, that will actually be what will justify, like, make your film be either official or unofficial. So That's the thing I always tell people to emphasize. You have to really, really make sure that your audio is on point.
I heard what you're saying about the audio, that if it's bad, it basically is going to ruin your movie. And I've had that happen. I've shot when I first got into this thing and did not know the value of a proper boom mic pole with shock mounts. So every time that the microphone cord moved, and this is for the people that's listening, if you're aspiring, the microphone will pick everything up. Every time the cord dragged across the pole, you could hear it, and it just killed it. It killed that shot. It just destroyed it. So yes, there is value behind either A, finding a good boom pole with the shock mounts, or B, knowing how to create a good boom pole with the shock mounts. And there are tutorials on how to do many DIY equipment pieces out there, including that. So yeah, I completely agree with you as far as that goes. You act in your own stuff too, don't you?
I do, but it's always been weird. I know I was never really the original actor. I'd always have people and I'd cast them, and something would come up, their shooting schedules, or, you know, maybe some misunderstandings. So I always have to probably fill in. But I always say I'd be the best person to fill in too, because it's my film and I don't want it to really tank. So I'm trying to really come in there and try and do the best I can, even though, because Clark was originally supposed to be a Caucasian male who I cast for that role. And, but, you know, it didn't work out that way, so that's why I filled in. And most of the movies I'm always filling in. But, yeah, I can act if I have to act, but I would love to be behind the camera, because that's one thing. I don't know how people do it. It's really hard to direct and be the actor, too, because you want to be focused on just one thing, you know. Do I see shadows over here? Is that a wire I see over there? Oh, that glass wasn't there for the last shot. You want to be a director seeing all that, but when you're also in front of the camera, I think you get confused unless you're just like maybe Ben Affleck or one of these crazy actor directors who just knows all these things. But I would rather just prefer to be behind the camera, mostly. If you see me in there, it means I was desperate, you know. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because you actually sound like you have a lot of similar experiences, and this may be just the thing that a lot of indie filmmakers do or have to deal with. Directly before I shot first day on my what was to be my feature, somebody called out sick. So, you know, it sounds like the missing component on set is one of those things that we just have to deal with. How did you overcome? Well, you said you had to step into it, but how much notice did you get for that? How much time did it take for you to kind of like, okay, I'm going to set myself into this? I mean, tell me what went on when he decided, okay, I can't make it.
Well, my situation is actually more tricky. I was actually supposed to be shooting the movie with a certain gentleman who he brought the actor on set, but he was trying to take a little too much control over what Clutch was, and I explained to him it's a short film. So with that, he decided to pull out and say, but you can go ahead and use my actor. But then the actor started acting a bit rebellious. So the thing I've realized now is that I understand acting, people want to get paid for their work. I know if I was paying this actor, I had a contract with him, he wouldn't fall sick. He wouldn't call out. He's been paid by a contract, and he's actually appreciated more. When people are working for free, you have to be able to expect these kind of things to happen, that they will pull stunts or make some outrageous demands or not take it too seriously unless they're really passionate about it. So with this guy, he had the physique and the martial arts knowledge, and that's why I wanted him, but he wasn't that passionate about acting. So him saying he wouldn't do it didn't have the effect of a real actor. So I know now that you have to be dealing with people that are 100% passionate about it, so that they're not getting paid for it. They're still not, they can still work with you, because some things they offer credit, and if you can't afford to pay them, they have to understand. If they can't understand, then, you have to wish the world that hopefully they just get that big break with a paid gig. But for now, for struggling filmmakers, there has to be that partnership where actors will understand and communicate with them and say, you know what, there is no money, there is no so-and-so, but I'll treat you the way Drew Barrymore would treat Steven Spielberg, I'll still give you that respect even though you're not paying me, because I know you're here to bring the best out of me too, as a director. So it's about communication and knowing the people that you're casting. I didn't know this guy personally. If I knew him personally, I could probably convince him and know what to say to get him on set. to play the role so I could be a full-time director. So it's about communication, knowing the people, and actually letting them, you know, I guess, trust you as a director. Yeah, and maybe sometimes when they are sick, because what's her name, from Scandal, she shot most of her Scandal scenes while she was pregnant. And I'm saying that that's someone who's on the contract, Olivia Pope, I'm forgetting her real name.
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington shot Scandal while she was pregnant. Most women would say, I can't shoot, you know what I'm saying? But if it's a contract or they're passionate, I think people would make exceptions and still show up and give the best they can, even if they were sick. I'm talking about real passionate actors. So either way, it's about either communication and just knowing the people you're casting. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and you probably said the right thing earlier, that contract got something to do with that too. Like,
yeah.
We need you as long as possible.
I saw a movie once where Bruce Willis was supposed to play the character, but he didn't want to shave his beard. But the contract says you have to do what they say, so you're going to have to shave that beard there. It's kind of harsh and hard, but, you know, that way, if you live by the contract, you get the work done regardless, you know. Even if there might be some bad blood or misunderstandings, that holds weight. And also, that would be you also appreciating the actor, because I know a lot of people, actors, that's their main problem. They don't see why they're doing all that and not getting paid. And that's the biggest thing, and I understand and I respect that. But then again, I know some actors out there are putting a lot of work out there, and it's making them get recognized. So until you show what really works, I tell actors to just try both avenues. If you're not getting paid, still go ahead and do it. If you are getting paid, then that's great news. But it's best if you try in both ways, just so you have a lot of work out there. So that's, yeah.
That's true. Now, you sound like you are pretty comfortable being a director. Like, you communicate well with your actors and what have you. Not.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning, Brian. I'm still learning. I can't always still get what's in my head out to people as smoothly as it's supposed to be. A professional, good director should be able to communicate. So I'm still working on that where I can get everything I'm trying to say to the actor right. You know, sometimes I try and say, but it doesn't come out that way, and so I'm still mastering that part. But once I get that covered, I think I'd be a whole lot more relaxed and comfortable. You know, like once I say it once, they understand what I'm trying to say, because it does get complicated trying to translate from your brain into words to another person and having them just get what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to just master that simple communication where it's like, you just connect with the actor and they know exactly what they're supposed to do. And that's what the greats do. Like the great directors, Christopher Nolan, Woody Allen, these guys, that's what they do. They really sit down and like we talk to their actors. But nowadays with a low budget, you can't just keep calling the actor every day, going over the lines with them, you know. But if it was a paid gig or something, you can actually really sit down with them for hours and days, going over the lines, letting them get, connected with the character and all that, So that's what I'm having to work around. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty okay. I mean, I know where I can shoot. And, just want to throw one more thing out there. Storyboards. I had storyboards for Clutch. Mm-hmm. Halfway through, I stopped using them. Very unprofessional. Very unprofessional. You have to stick. Those are like, I started off nicely, too. I was going good. But as you're going on and it's a low budget and you're trying to get the shot and you're losing sunlight or, about to get daylight, you kind of put that aside. But if you always are on set and you have a storyboard and someone in charge of your storyboards for you, you will never forget your scenes or your shots, and you will be much, much organized. So I always tell people, do your best to stay with them or have some artists or use stuff, just draw like a little caricatures in the little box and just know where all your scenes are. And it really helps a lot with pacing yourself. And I wanted to put it out there because I know that was something I missed. I started off, but I missed it towards the end, yeah.
Well, why did you miss it towards the end? Did you just feel like pressure came up, or?
My camera operators were extremely tired and they wanted to go home. And so, yeah, they were like, we've had enough. We've been here for about 8 hours. I'm like, well, let's just try and get it done. But the good thing was that because I was one editing the movie, I knew how to cheat and shoot when I was going to be editing. You see what I'm saying? That's the advantage I had, too. If I wasn't editing the film, I probably wouldn't have got it done. So I'm like, let's just shoot. We're just going to start shooting to edit, and that's what some people do when they can actually edit, where you can actually just shoot that one scene that you need for that cut. You don't have to go through the whole different takes and everything. So that's why I cheated that. Because if I followed my storyboards, I'd have known where I'm shooting this scene, and I'm shooting that scene, and that's how I just match them up. But yeah, so it worked out for me, but it might not work out for anyone else. But it might. But I'm just saying, it's best to always have that structure, or have someone that's right beside you, just letting you know that we're about to shoot this scene now. Let's get them ready, and it just makes everything so harmonious and peaceful. I think I've never experienced it yet, but I think it should.
No, yeah. I got you. I understand that too. That is yet another one of the what I would call the problems that you have on the low budget / no budget set as an indie producer. You can't really say, hey, look, we gotta keep going. I need 10, 12 hours out of you. When you're not on the clock per se, I don't have a paycheck for you. I can't really force you off into that. So yeah, that is the other hurdle.
I was going to say, you have people doing extras for like movies like Hunger Games and stuff, and they're there all day. And they're not complaining because they get paid like $500 a day. You know what I'm saying? So It's like, we'll be on the set for that all day. But yeah, another thing too with storyboards, if you can't do storyboards or you can't have an artist do it for you, there's always shot list, which is also efficient. And there's also budget, another thing people can look into, just make things more structured. But yeah, back to that, I'll just throw that in there.
Yeah, I think that the key thing here is the most organization that you can walk onto your set with, the better you will be. Now, I don't know, you sound like you had the same issue as I did, that over the course of time, there were a couple of curveballs thrown at you, and that kind of forced you to readjust, kind of speed up or change this and move that around.
Brian, I love them all. I tell them to keep coming at me however hard they can come at me, because it's not supposed to be easy, okay? If it was supposed to be easy, everybody would be doing it, So when you have someone tell you, I'm going to give you $30,000 on this date, and time comes up and they're not going to give it to you, most people would say, well, let me put this script back in this little box and get back to work. No, you go about finding ways of getting it done, or in some way, because you should be able to be creating more things in the future. Don't let somebody or something stop you from what you have to get to. It can be done in so many ways. Even if not, it's like right now, if I can't do my next feature film, I'm going to work on something else, that I can actually afford and get done. And in the meantime, that will be what I'll be working on. And I will get back on that course, So I always tell people, like, no matter how it is, where it is, do not feel in one little bit, you have to give up or put it aside or focus. Nah, you have to just stay on that path. I know people that actually pay money to get in. There are people that you can reach out to, like, I'll give you a starring leading role if you can help me out fund my movie. There are ways of going about funding and having people put their taking on sale where I actually see in your restaurant or shooting in your fashion store, and some kind of sponsorship. And these are the ways you go about raising money if you really, really want to. Or guess what? I have R. Kelly in my movie, and R. Kelly would like to shoot this scene in your barbershop. Wow, okay. So I'm just throwing out there, like, if it comes to money, and even if it comes to even the crew, there are lots of people out there who want to work on films and help you out. So I've lost DPs before based on not having the right funding and everything, but, I came around and figured it out. Those are the people that I know you have to always definitely pay your DP, because without your DP, you're pretty much, yeah. But that's who I always say should always, at least, if anyone who has to be taken care of, I always say it's the GP, because most of them know about lighting. They know about. If they love you, they will make sure you have good work. A bad GP who does not love you will shoot some crap for you and not care about your final product. So I always try to make sure I take care of my GP the most if I have to. But I just want to say all that too.
I got you. I think that you want to take care of the people that are going to be looking out for you, taking care of you, making sure that your project has as much going for it as humanly possible. So yeah, I firmly agree with that, especially on the technical end. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors that you can toss out there if the acting is low. Of course, you don't want to grab a bad actor, but as an editor, I'm sure you probably know a good deal of those tricks, cutting lines down and things of that nature.
Oh man, yeah.
With the wide shot when the close up don't look so good. All of
Oh
that.
man, yeah. You know, over the shoulder when there was something that's totally said differently. I probably recorded that audio somewhere else, so I'm just going to show the back of your head and just have the audio play on that. And hopefully no one gets to notice that. But yeah, that's the good thing about editing. So I always tell people, I mean, if you're a filmmaker, you have to figure out how to edit. Even if you don't know how, when I didn't know how to edit, I could still sit an editor and then tell what I wanted. And that's how you even know, like, I want this for this long and that scene for that long. And you can start off that way and then watch them edit. And while you watch them, you can probably start, picking up some of these things. But you have to want to know that. So at least in a dire situation, you'd actually be able to put your own work together.
Very true. Now, probably like a lot of us, you've had to hire yourself out there as a either videographer or a cinematographer for some people that just to kind of keep the influx of money in your pocket so you can source yourself. Would you say that to those aspiring filmmakers out there, that being able to use your craft to generate money, whether that be through, I got to shoot this wedding or I got to shoot this event footage or something like that, becomes important? I mean, the one thing I would say, don't let your stuff sit. Like, if you bought a camera, you need to use that camera.
Yeah. Because I personally, I own a Canon 6D, but I wouldn't shoot anything film-wise with that. I'd probably go maybe the 5D Mark III or try and go to a Canon 1DC. But the point about it is that you have to also do these events because, you're trying to network. You want people to know about you and what it is that you do. So right now, most people are still stuck on photography. Like, I'd rather take pictures at a wedding or at a birthday party and not videography. So I'm actually finding ways to do little montages of events, put them together in the highlights and create nice little packages for people and stuff like that. And I get to connect with these clients of mine. And I feel that when I have these people connected with them and they can pass on my good work, that's me spreading what is my company and what it is I do. Because if you just stay home with your camera, you're right. No one's going to really just know. I mean, you have to be remarkable to be just, noticed and, discovered from there. You want to be out there. What I don't do and I need to start doing is start going to these little networking events where they have little mixers and all that. Because I hear that time you get to know that person's agent or that person's manager and, get to move on that way. But yeah, I do a lot of events. I've done baby showers, I've done birthdays, 3-year-old birthdays, 50-year anniversaries, and I try to connect with people all the time and make unique pieces of work for them, just so if they can remember me, know who I was, know that I can do the whole directing, be on top and telling people what to do, and then still be humble and try and make sure I get her makeup shot for her wedding and give her that time. That way you let people know that, it's about just connecting with people. That's why I do my films, try and connect and try and share my stories and let people be entertained for as long as I can. So, yeah, I'd say it's always advisable to get out there and do some stuff other than just filmmaking, yeah.
Networking is very important, which brings up one of the bigger parts. One of the things that a lot of people really don't like to deal with, just as much as you say you have to be technical, when you're a one-man band, you also have to be the business behind the creatives, which I know a lot of people don't necessarily like to do. I don't necessarily like to do it, but I know it's a necessity. You got to be the one that's going to do the networking. You got to be the one that's going to look for the investors. You got to be the one that's going to shoot for, try to find the locations and find people that's going to give you favors and find all this stuff. When did you come to that point that you realized, okay, I got to do this. I got to make this stuff happen, and I don't really have nobody else to make this thing go but me, and, time to start networking, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, well, with me, when I first started, I realized it was almost impossible to get it all done because I am more on the artistic side. I can create something that would be beautiful to watch, but when it comes to actually negotiating the deal and, doing this and that involves the whole management part, I'm not really that great. So luckily for me earlier, my wife and her sister, they were really really big supporters of what it is that I do. So I have my sister-in-law posing as my publicist now, where she gets to handle most of the stuff and decide what to do and what not to do and who to work with. And I can trust her on that level and then keep some of the work coming in through myself. So I will always say that if it's best, find close friends or family members or people that you really trust who aren't going to just maybe also BS you, but will be honest with you if your work isn't that good enough, or if you should have done this and that, or also encourage you and have that little position. They might not be working 24/7, like the gigs might not be coming all the time, but have them be the one to play I take your phone calls and I book you for this and I do that. It will help you look professional and feel professional. But unless you're super multi-talented and you're good at multitasking, I'd say you can do it by yourself. You can handle the business, handle all the banking stuff and all the funding stuff and the numbers and then the creativity and then the shooting and then the casting and then the emails, which is always important. Who sends the emails? Have someone who does all the emails and have the actors know when to be ready. It's just organized yet. It's a lot of things. So if you can't do it by yourself and you don't want to pay for an agent or a manager, have someone who just believes in you, just help you out, because you will need that. If you don't need them now, trust me, sooner or later when it starts getting big, you'll need someone to be in your corner helping you out while you forget things, because you will forget something. And yeah, that's how I do. I actually have some help. I'm not one man army on that level. As far as the creation part, yeah, but not with everything else. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're a smart man. Because
I'm learning. Like I always say, I'm still learning.
Find somebody to do that, or incorporating family members and whatnot. That certainly seems to help. So yeah, I would have to applaud you for realizing your shortcoming and finding somebody to plug that hole.
Yes.
Last, the equipment that you're using, which is another thing that gets kind of tossed around. I think you said earlier, you got people that have used great cameras, but not necessarily know how to use it. I know that wasn't, what you said verbatim, but that's essentially what it comes down to. You do have some people that go out of their way and purchase, these high-end, expensive cameras, but not really know what to do with it, or own editing equipment and not know how to push it to its utmost. So let me start with this. When you began doing this, where did you start shooting on and editing on, and where are you now on what you're shooting and editing with?
Well, my first film was half HD, and that was a Sony FX1, I believe. And that was actually the DP I used. That was his personal camera. He did not want to shoot with that because it wasn't full HD. At that time, I had no idea what full HD was, but he was like, trust me, you don't want to shoot anything like this full HD because no one will watch it and you'll get nothing. But I still wanted to shoot it, and so I shot my first film half HD. As I went on my next film, I shot that with a Canon 7D. Now, that's what I was using nowadays, DSLRs, Yeah. If you get a good DSLR, you can shoot a good quality, full HD kind of material. But it would always also be based on the lens you get. For my second film, which is called Mama's Boy, we used a 50mm 1.2 and a 24-70. These two lenses for the entire film, because these are all prime lenses. And if you put a prime lens on a older camera, like a 60D camera, you'll still get some very good quality, So the only reason why people maybe might invest in the higher-end DSLRs is that, they might have higher ISOs where they can have better quality in low-light situations and all that. But if you want to maybe have a $300-400 T2i and you can light up your set real good and rent you a good $3,000 lens, like the 50mm, 50 1.2 is like about $3,000 right now, $2,800 I think. But you can rent that for like $50. You put that on your camera, you can shoot something with good lighting in low-light situations, as opposed to someone getting a 5D Mark III and getting a 51.2, still can't afford lighting, and is also shooting in low light. So there are ways you can go about it. But I did my next film, Clutch, with a 5D Mark III, 51.2 lens. The only reason why I did not use lights, like actual lights for that whole short film, was because it would take too long to set up this scene for lights. It would take too long to now move the lights from this room into that room. And I'm working with a crew that does not really want to even be there. So I knew that I need a good camera that can work good with low light. Just the natural light alone could give me those tones I need to look like I lit my scenes and have my shadows here and my high tones there. So that's what I did with that. But the next thing I'm trying to move up to, which I want to get into, is 4K. Shooting film with 4K footage and having that high-end super quality where it would look close to, movie and film on the real theater. So those, I tell people, they cost a lot of money, but you can rent those too. Now, I'm like, I rent all my stuff. I'll share with everyone. Everyone who rents equipment needs to know that Aperturant on Roswell Road is the best .1 place in the whole world to get all the equipment you need. Aperturant.com, APERUTNT.com. And you can order your stuff and anything you want you get. If you're going really high end, like for maybe a red camera, they might need a little credit check, blah blah blah. But as far as DSLRs and good lenses and cinema lenses, which people aren't even these days, which are great lenses, you can actually rent all those. Those cost a lot of money, but you can rent those and shoot great stuff. So I didn't know much about equipment in the past, but through YouTube, oh my God, through YouTube, I got to learn how to upgrade. So now I would probably never touch a 7D camera right now. But I used to love those, but now I wouldn't touch that because it's not, I guess it's nowhere close to the 5D Mark II and all that. So, and it's not full frame. That's the main thing. It's not full frame, so you wouldn't want to use that. So there are things I know now that I didn't know, but I know how to get them now and how to use them, and mostly, like I said, through YouTube. So I just wanted to share that, yeah. So I've come a long way from, like, not HD to HD.
YouTube is a fantastic tool, and it just occurred to me, I said I was going to remember later, Video Copilot, for those people that actually
they have free tutorials that you can download in Video Copilot, right, that you can actually use on your stuff. So, like that whole, how maybe someone, like, if the Hulk was to, like, something was to smash the ground, it would have that shaky effect. They have a whole preset where you just have to download the preset, put it in your After Effects, maybe alter a few things here and there, and you have that. So Video Copilot is a blessing, and I'm glad you brought that one up. Yeah, it's a blessing. It's a good site. It's a very good site.
Yes, it is. I wanted to make sure I brought it up to illustrate exactly what you were saying, that there's a lot of stuff out there that will help you. So if you are listening and you are trying to learn After Effects, I find that Video Copilot may be the absolute best site to figure that out. And like I just said, you got the presets of a lot of stuff that, and they give away 10 of them. You got 10 free presets on that site. And I don't get paid by them, so I'm not saying this because they offering me money. I'm saying this because this is a damn good location, a good site.
Yeah.
Great stuff that they give you for free. So yes, you certainly want to check that out. And to touch on the equipment thing, how you have to work up the ladder. Glad you said that. I mean, because I too had to work up the ladder. I think the first thing I shot was on just a DV camera. Wasn't even HD. It was a Canon ZR80. That's going back there ways. The next one I borrowed was a Canon XH-A1 camcorder, also a DV cam, just shoots high quality, goes 1080i. Now I'm up to, DSLR.
And the reason people don't know, a lot of people would probably, I didn't mean to cut you up, I just want to try and say that, but the video cameras too, they're really good, but the reason why people need to stop really focusing on the video cameras also, and I just found that out like a while back, was that I think with the whole DSLR depth of field and the sensors and everything, even though it's a picture-taking camera, that's why the video is way better than, some people, I know a friend who actually bought himself a $20,000 video camera. And I'm like, dude, you could have done 5 or 6 for actual Mark III. But he's thinking that with the tape and it seems real and it's a video camera, that would be the way to go. But if you can't afford anything high end, I'd say, yeah, DSLRs is where you can, you start off with now. But I just wanted to add that to the thing with video cameras.
Oh yeah, I would have to say that is quite a true statement. One, because most of the tutorials that you do come across on YouTube in today's market tend to veer towards DSLR tutorial, especially when you're talking about the digital filmmaking age. What I did learn, here again, the errors on set were my teachers. If it wasn't a tutorial, it was, you learn through the mistake. And what I learned is that those cameras, the Canon XH A1, which I actually still use, but I use it for event footage, not filmmaking. You lose the quality. You lose the option of being able to take a lens off and, all right, let me pop this new one on. Let me get a telephoto lens. Let me get a 50 millimeter prime.
That is true. That is true.
And you can alter the look on that one camera. Now, the one downside that I will put out there for people that don't know is that the audio isn't necessarily great. You want to get you a secondary audio rig in order to record good quality stuff. But if you can do that, then I say, yeah, DSLR it, man. Go all the way. For the money that you spend on one big video high def camera, you can probably grab you about 3 of them and shoot.
Yeah, and then get you a Zoom H4n, a little audio recording device too. Like a good $20,000, you should have a good, nice, decent production company.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. Last thing. You've been great. I gotta tell you, you covered a lot of ground with me. I might have to get you back on there.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want to talk about the stuff that you got upcoming. I know you said you got a reality series that you produce. We want to make sure that we talk about that.
I'm doing both. Yeah, I'm doing can I talk about that now?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I'm trying to branch television, but I'm having a hard time with film, where film depends on your supporters and your fans and financial backing. But I hear if you have great concepts, good stories, and you try and pitch them to television networks, you might get picked up. If not, maybe the actual thing could be just a plot of the storyline if you could get it copywritten. But I'm working on a reality show, and I'm working on a web miniseries and stuff. So I'm trying to shoot both of those, low budget but well done, for now, while I get ready to get on my campaign for my feature film. I know some people in Atlanta. I've managed to meet a lot of people who've promised they'd always be there for me. So I'm going to try my campaign and see if I can raise my money to shoot my movie. But until then, I want to still keep working. So I'm shooting a reality show. It's based on 5 guys that fit, but it's on their personal lives also, and how they actually add that with stage fitting and blah, blah, blah. And I'm shooting another webisode that covers actually, that's actually something else. But yeah, so that's what I'm just doing now. Just keep busy and then try and see if I can throw them out to networks and see if someone might be interested with the idea or the concept or the way it's shot. And who knows, maybe they might want to pay to have more done. But I tell people too, that's another thing you could do. Shoot something, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's a reality show. It's a miniseries or it's a film, and then throw that out there and see if someone wants to actually fund and see more. There's nothing wrong with just trying a little pilot episode and seeing. If that doesn't work, I get right back onto my filmmaking. But I'm just trying to try all the avenues to get in, because television is where it's at. The fans that follow Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, Boardwalk Empire, it's ridiculous. Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
And it's not like that nowadays with film, because it's just one film. But if you can keep it going and actually have fans, I think that's the best way to have loyal fans that will follow you to the end or whatever you do. So I'm trying to branch also in television and see if I can have some success there.
Well, sound like you got a lot of oars in the water. So I want to certainly wish you all the best luck with all of those endeavors.
Thank you so much.
And I no problem. I want to plug your pages again. For those that want to check them out and see his stuff, since we've been talking about it. You want to go?
I might have to go up. I might have to update it there, because I haven't put some stuff up there. I need to put some of my new stuff up there. This is.
You gotta update it now.
Yeah. Because I got some standard. I have some standard definition videos on there, but I thought you said all HD. Why am I seeing standard definition here too? But yeah.
Dude, don't feel bad. I had to I got accepted. I shot this stuff on standard def back in the day, and there's nothing I can do about it now. But hey, it's there. It was a learning process.
Yeah. It's history, yeah. It's your history.
It pushes you up to where you are now. So just roll with it. Just roll with it. And to those that want to see it, go to Blayz Productions on Facebook. Blayz, spelled B-L-A-Y-Z. And you should know how to spell productions if you're any kind of adult. So Blayz Productions on Facebook, BlayzProductions.com. They go check out his website, and I'm sure that if you search out Clutch which I have spoken highly of throughout this podcast, you too will be impressed. And one last thing I can say to those people that's out there, you certainly learn the hardships of trying to shoot something once you've actually tried to do it. You gain a lot more respect for people that make movies because, let me tell you, it takes effort to make a bad movie. That much is absolutely true.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, that is fact. So, Johnny Blayz, thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you, and I wish I could have been of some help. I'm really glad that this happened, and I commend you for this. And keep doing what it is that you do. Also, and I would say, hey, we'll all wind up in Hollywood and change the game soon. So let's just keep going on the road we are, and then we'll just see what happens at the end.
That sounds good to me, man. And even if I don't do Hollywood, I catch you.
Man, I was going to say, I want to take that back. I'm like, no, forget Hollywood, man. No, we'll make our own Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? I just thought about what I just said, like, that was actually crappy. No, because they're starting out anyway. We'll create our own and have our own Hollywood. How's that? Yeah.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
Good for it. I like that. Well, thank you for popping on here. Thanks for joining me on this podcast and sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience and experiences on the set. And hopefully somebody out there got something out of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so too.
You've been listening to the Fanboy Film Talk podcast. Be sure to subscribe and join us every week right here on iTunes and Blog Talk Radio. Follow Brian at Mr. Green 75 on Twitter and stop by the All the Way Live Facebook page. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next show.